I'm going to get a can of yellow paint and a roller, and I'm going to paint no parking. No parking. See it? Scooter right there in the way. What is wrong with these folks? Alcohol in the brain? You ain't got a lick of sense, not one of you. Blocking up the access over here. Blocking up the sidewalk over here. Ain't supposed to be nowhere on that. You see that big old blue sign? See that big old blue sign right there? Ain't nothing supposed to be blocking this. Nothing.
Nobody lives around here, mister. You sure you got the right place?
I'm sure this is the place.
I know it's none of my business, but...
That's right, it's none of your business, Charlie.
Hey, how come you know my name?
You don't recognize me, do you?
Put your PlayStation down and your cell phones and do something.
Deadlock jury. Minnesota Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips says he's considering a primary challenge of President Joe Biden. Phillips appearing on a podcast run by former Republican strategist and Lincoln Project founder Steve Schmidt.
I recognize there'd be laughter, there'd be distaste, there would be disgust amongst many, but I also have that sense that the country is begging for alternatives. You know, whether that's me, whether it's somebody else, time will tell.
Phillips has called for a handful of Democratic governors who have more national name recognition and fundraising ability than him to challenge President Biden, saying it's time for the next generation to lead the party. Phillips and the rest of Congress are expected back on Capitol Hill on Tuesday with just 4 business days left to work out differences over a government funding bill. A group of House Republicans are adamant that spending cuts need to happen, otherwise they say they will not vote for any deal that Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy may strike with Democrats. The deadline for a new deal to avoid a government shutdown Saturday, just before midnight. In Washington, I'm David Abe for Newsnet.
Thank you, David. And
Whatever killed those people is still in that lake, and it's going to take more than dynamite to get it out.
And then brings them back to life to gratify their distorted desires.
when it stripped away various safeguards. Safeguards like actually ensuring that a woman see a doctor before taking this dangerous chemical abortion drug. So we applaud that decision. The organization I work for, Alliance Defending Freedom, is representing the doctors in that lawsuit who are seeking to make sure that the FDA does its job and protects women and girls from the harms of chemical abortion.
So some moderate Republicans, as I mentioned, they've actually objected to the provision in the Agriculture and FDA spending bill, which prohibits mailing these abortion pills across the country. What would your message be to them?
So I think when you're talking about mail order chemical abortion drugs, that's something that everyone should be against. Even if you are in favor and call yourself pro-choice, the idea that a woman can get a dangerous chemical abortion drug that she takes at home without ever seeing a doctor is wholly unsupported by the evidence. FDA's own label says that between 2.9 and 4.6% of women who take this drug will end up in the emergency room due to complications. And yet we have the FDA wishing to mail this drug. You can go online, fill out a form in 5 minutes, and get this drug shipped to your house. And yet you could end up in the emergency room. That's something that shouldn't happen in America.
Lastly, election cycles, they often play out in sound bites and campaign ads. How do you see conservatives presenting the issue of abortion in a way that won't be taken out of context, yet still gets the message across in the correct way?
So I think the pro-life issue is one that facilitates the flourishing of women who are facing unplanned pregnancies during that pregnancy and beyond. We have a responsibility as a culture, as church members, as voters, to take care of women and their children, not just during pregnancy, but to step up and support those mothers and children as well. And a number of states have done this really well. I think about Mississippi, who has implemented $100 million grant, I believe. I think about the state of Texas, who has provided not only material resources, but education training, job training, housing to women facing unplanned pregnancies. In my own state of Missouri, they've got a great plan where you can contribute to pregnancy care centers and receive a tax credit. You know, what could be a better use of money and resources than to invest in the lives of mothers and their children?
Erin Hawley, really appreciate you joining us to share your perspective. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
The Cuban embassy here in Washington, D.C. was hit with Molotov cocktails last night. It's according to Cuba's foreign affairs minister. In a post on X, the diplomat suggesting that the incident could be politically motivated, noting that this is the second attack at the embassy in recent years. The last incident occurred back in 2020 when a Cuban-born man shot at the embassy. The U.S. Secret Service said that the building was not damaged and an investigation is currently underway. And that is all we have for you this evening on the Capitol Report. Thank you for watching. I'm Steve Lance. Have a nice evening. See you back.
Gotta wait and see what it is.
At a New York daycare ran out of an apartment. Authorities uncovering this drug stash hidden in the floor of the Bronx Daycare Center. Police charged a third person, Renny Antonio Paredes, with narcotics distribution resulting in death. Police finding 4 kids unresponsive, showing signs of opioid exposure, one of them later dying. Paredes played an instrumental role in selling fentanyl and other drugs that were packaged and stored inside the daycare, including under mats used by kids for sleeping. The owner of the daycare center and a tenant of the apartment are also charged with murder of depraved indifference. Police are searching for the husband of the daycare owner, who reportedly fled the apartment minutes after the children were found unresponsive.
Is how much house you can actually afford to buy. When considering whether now is a good time to buy a home, pay less attention to the current interest rate environment and focus on how much you can really afford to spend. For more personal finance insights, head to thestreet.com.
Whatever killed those people is still in that lake, and it's going to take more than dynamite to get it out.
And then brings them back to life to gratify their distorted desires.
Thanks,
Right
Ryan.
there.
Continuing in international news, Italian mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro, convicted of some of the Sicilian mafia's most heinous slayings, dies in a hospital.
In the background, what was your reaction to this news?
China's return on Huawei looks like what America's return on an aircraft carrier is, which is to say it costs a lot of money. You're not going to make that money back, but you're going to project power and be able to have your way around the world in a way that you couldn't have otherwise. So I think if they're making this chip using this, I believe it's called the N+2 technique, you can squeeze out a few usable, workable chips, show it off to everybody, but it is not a commercial solution.
And I want to zoom in on Huawei specifically. What makes it different? Like, what does it mean when a company is state-run in China?
Ron Zhengfei is not a bureaucrat. He is a really sharp business manager, and he's running the company as a private company. But in China, if you're any company, especially a big and important one, you're under the thumb of the CCP. And as I think your viewers know, that means that while he's not taking his management direction from them, it's kind of like a board of directors. They're saying directionally, here's what you have to do. We're willing to give you this support, but here's what you have to do because your ultimate mission is, as Huawei's name says, to be for China.
Given these tensions between the U.S. and China, where do you see U.S.-China ties going from here?
I don't think they're going to get better. I think Chairman Xi is operating in an echo chamber now, where his advisors, the idea that one of his advisors would pull him aside and say, I think you're making a grave error in how you're approaching this, They watched Hu Jintao get dragged out by the arms by security personnel. So if that could happen to him, if Jack Ma could be canceled, have his business school shut down, have his IPOs terminated, and now be, I don't know where he is, playing golf in Thailand or something. I don't know that anyone's willing to tell Chairman Xi the truth about these approaches, and he may be making some decisions that are not even in China's own interests here.
Condition is hard to diagnose because routine tests don't reveal anything amiss. However, 2 small studies may be changing that. Researchers say they may have found potential biomarkers for long COVID. If so, this could give scientists a way to objectively measure who has long COVID and whether or not experimental treatment works.
Were they vaccinated?
Costco is recalling 48,000 mattresses due to reports of mold contamination. So far, 500 customers reported a mold problem with Novaform Comfort Grand 14-inch and Novaform Dreamaway 8-inch mattresses that they purchased this year. Mattresses were sold at Costco locations in the San Francisco Bay region, the Greater Northwest, and on Costco's website. Mold growth may have occurred because of exposure to water when the mattresses were being made. The Consumer Product Safety Commission warns mold could put those with weakened immune systems, damaged lungs, or mold allergies at risk of health problems. Customers in possession of the mattresses are advised to contact the manufacturer, FXI.
The dream that gives hope to us is as strong as it ever was. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America. In my America, there is no left or right. We're all on common ground. Darkness gives way to light. In my America, you give more than you take. And when someone has lost their way, you lend them a hand and say, we are a family, together you and me, agreeing to disagree, but still live in harmony. The dream that gives hope to us is as strong as it ever was. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America.
Condition is hard to diagnose because routine tests don't reveal anything amiss. However, 2 small studies may be changing that. Researchers say they may have found potential biomarkers for long COVID. If so, this could give scientists a way to objectively measure who has long COVID and whether or not experimental treatment works.
Were they vaccinated?
Costco is recalling 48,000 mattresses due to reports of mold contamination. So far, 500 customers reported a mold problem with Novaform Comfort Grand 14-inch and Novaform Dreamaway 8-inch mattresses that they purchased this year. Mattresses were sold at Costco locations in the San Francisco Bay region, the Greater Northwest, and on Costco's website. Mold growth may have occurred because of exposure to water when the mattresses were being made. The Consumer Product Safety Commission warns mold could put those with weakened immune systems, damaged lungs, or mold allergies at risk of health problems. Customers in possession of the mattresses are advised to contact the manufacturer, FXI.
Angry people taking to the streets to voice the opposition to the established order. It seems there is a growing dissatisfaction amongst the citizens of every country as politics becomes more and more polarized. Here to comment is the multi-headed Hydra of public discontent.
Hello, JP. Thank you for letting us occupy your show.
Whoa, I'm not letting you occupy my show.
You don't speak for me. I am angry with the system. I am taking to the streets.
Multi-headed Hydra of public discontent, why are you so angry?
$180 every time I want a haircut for one thing, but seriously.
I am angry about something and I demand everything.
I want to defund the police, the military, and TikTok for making me look fat.
What can be done to make you less angry?
Done. Nothing gets done.
Laughable.
You people.
What do you mean, you people?
Typical mainstream media.
Oh, you think I'm mainstream media? Wow.
No
Thank
matter
you.
how you try to appease me from the left or the right, you cannot.
I just grow another angry head.
Some with beards, others that are gross.
Hey.
He has eyes. He can see that thing.
How did you become so angry?
Years of oppression.
We got audited 3 times last year.
And sometimes I put earrings on the wrong head.
I do not like that.
And I do not like that you always order garlic.
At least my bad breath is my choice.
Shut up and have a gum.
So is the world just doomed to have public discontent growing and growing?
That's why these billionaire arsebites are going to Mars.
It's the ultimate gated community.
Yeah, run away in your silk spacesuits and powdered caviar.
Enjoy your Louis Vuitton oxygen.
I hope you like poop potatoes.
Stop yelling. Going deaf in my 5th ear.
Loud talking isn't yelling.
Pipe down, you drool when you sleep.
That is a separate issue.
The multi-headed Hydra of public discontent, aka Facebook comment thread.